Lamar Jackson. So let's talk about this. We've got Harbaugh talking about Jackson. First off, let me just go over what happened in 2018. You remember Amal. Baker Mayfield.
First pick in the draft.
1 overall. Sam Darnold goes 3. Allen goes 7. Rosen, if you watch Rosen at UCLA, he should never have been drafted in the first round. Yep. He was an injury waiting to happen and a bit of a mental case. No offense, kid. And then Jackson goes 32 in round 1. What did he do? Well, unanimous MVP in 2019 where he was ridiculous. You do realize in 2019.
Year?
What?
His second year he won the MVP? I thought it was his third. I didn't realize it was second year.
19. You do realize in 2019 he led the NFL with 36 touchdown passes. You know who he was throwing to? Miles Boykin, Marquise Brown as a rookie, Seth Roberts, and yes, Andrews, and that's when Hayden Hurst was still on the team. But Lamar Jackson, who people talk about not being able to throw the ball, go back to college where Petrino coached him, and Petrino runs a completely pro-style offense. He had 30 touchdowns as a sophomore, 30 touchdown passes, and 27 as a junior. This idea that he can't throw the football is a joke. They've never given him support as far as wide receivers. Right now, he's got Bateman, Duvernay, Prochet, like nice players, but it's not Justin Jefferson he's throwing the football to. Let's be fair. Now, here's the situation with Jackson. ESPN reported last September that Jackson wanted a fully guaranteed deal like Deshaun Watson, right? Stephen A. Smith comes out yesterday and says, nah, it's not true. I talked to Jackson's camp. He doesn't want fully guaranteed money. ESPN then countered and said, yes, reiterated he wants the Deshaun Watson deal. The Ravens are reluctant to give him the Deshaun Watson deal because they say that's not a precedent. That's an outlier. That's an anomaly. Here's the deal. He's 26 years old. He's already won an MVP. He needs help, and I think Monken's going to provide that with a pro-style offense. He needs help at the wide receiver position as well. And by the way, Harbaugh can do a little help as they start to PR because they're going to franchise him. Let's hear from John Harbaugh.
Yeah, we've been texting back and forth here and there ever since the season was over. So I feel like Lamar's doing really well. It's just what it is, part of the business. You know, it's what you expect when you have a great quarterback, when you make a great decision in the draft. You know, and I think Lamar has done a great job in terms of developing as a quarterback and winning football games and competing and doing all the things that he does. I feel like we've done a great job in terms of bringing out the best in Lamar over the years, and it's just evident in the way he plays. You know, and so. He's my quarterback. He's my guy. I love him. And as a coach, I'm looking forward to seeing it get done. But it's not easy. You know, it's never easy. It's the business part of it. So, but I'm really hopeful and excited, fervently hopeful, and can't wait for it to get done.
So the Ravens have 6 days. Remember, next Tuesday, they have 6 days to get a deal done with Lamar Jackson, or they have to hit him with the franchise tag, which is going to piss him off. I'm going to let you run, but this is an asinine conversation. The way the Ravens have handled this is completely asinine. By the way, if they franchise him, that's going to take up all the Ravens' cap space as well, so they might as well get a deal done. Every single conversation we have on VSiN, every conversation you have in a bar starts and ends with the quarterback. They need to get the deal done with a kid that was an MVP at 21, 22 years old, Amal.
I would agree with you. And for people that are unfamiliar in terms of a franchise tag, you are paid the top 5 salaries as a cumulative average based on that position. So right now at the quarterback position, you're looking around $47 million. In 2023, Rodgers is scheduled to make $50.3, Russell Wilson $49, Kyler Murray $46.1, Watson $46, and Mahomes $45 million. Look, I think you have to sign him. There's no question about it. I don't think it's as catastrophic the way you describe in terms of the supporting cast. I think the running game has been tremendous that they've had there. The offensive line's been very good. Ronnie Stanley's been hurt the last couple of years. That's had an impact. However, I understand the Ravens' pushback on the guaranteed money because I agree. I think the Deshaun Watson deal was a bit of an outlier. I have no idea what the Jimmy Haslam and the Browns are doing. I mean, it's just stupidity. It's like the Hicks deal with Tom Hicks along with Alex Rodriguez, where they paid $252 and nobody was bidding against you, and Boris bamboozled them. It was the stupidest deal of all time. To me, if you're going to pay Lamar Jackson, no problem. But I agree from their perspective of not wanting to guarantee the whole contract.
They need to give him whatever he's asking for. Now, the issue is he has no agent.
Yeah, that doesn't matter to me. But, he's making a mistake on the no agent part, and here's why. You can negotiate. Who is it? Lon Babby or one of those guys? Lon Rosen that used to take not Lon Rosen, but one of these agents. They used to take just an hourly rate. He represented Tim Duncan and Grant Hill. And he used to just take an hourly rate, $400 an hour, just like an attorney would charge you if you're going in for a regular case. I understand he doesn't want to give away, theoretically, on $250 million, 3% is the max the NFLPA allows you to charge, so you're looking at $7.5 million. But to me, I think the agent could potentially make up that money in this type of negotiation of $7.5 million to justify his fee in this particular instance, at least from my perspective.
You're not astounded. You said the wide receiver position wasn't as much of an issue for you.
No,
You're not astounded the dude threw 36 touchdown passes thrown to Miles Boykin, Marquise Brown, and Seth Roberts?
Yeah, but don't you think some of those plays are unbroken plays where linebackers step up or people come off their guys because they're worried about Lamar running the football and then guys are running?
I don't know, John Madden. I'm just saying he's a remarkable football player. He's one of the best character guys in all of football, and it's an asinine conversation the way that the idea of should we or should we not from the Ravens, to me, is asinine.
Well, first of all, Adam Lefkoe, because Adam Lefkoe always defends Lamar because he worked in Louisville. But my point is, I get what you're saying, but there's opportunities. This guy couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat consistently. The one thing you have to look at, I get Hollywood Brown hasn't panned out. They drafted Rashad Bateman in the first round out of Minnesota. They have tried to get guys, but at the same time, it's not like Lamar's throwing the ball with the accuracy of Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes and other guys, or Aaron Rodgers either. Let's not act like this guy is Joe Montana back here.
He was a unanimous MVP at like 22, dude. He had 36 touchdown passes.
Mo Vaughn won an MVP in the next 5 years. That guy couldn't eat himself out of an in and out. That was about the only thing he could do when he was in Anaheim. I mean, all I'm saying is just because you won an MVP doesn't make you a great player for the entire career.
Okay. It's an odd argument, but I'll let you go with it. Lamar Jackson's next team, if not the Ravens, let's get your take on these teams here. The Falcons, who, by the way, I think they just released Mariota.
Yeah,
they're going to go with Ritter. The Jets at 3.5 to 1 to procure Lamar Jackson services if it's not the Ravens. And by the way, the Ravens are going to franchise him if they don't get a deal done. So these numbers are a little bit.
He should go to Atlanta. Or he should go to Atlanta or Tampa, and here's why. The NFC South is one of the easiest divisions to potentially win. The NFC is a much easier path to the Super Bowl than the AFC does. Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes are not going anywhere. These are all young guys his age who are on teams that have really succeeded with what those guys do well. And, Cincinnati's going to eventually take a hit here a little bit when Burrow's contract comes up because they're going to have to pay him. And probably when Burrow becomes a free agent in 2 years, he's looking at probably about $55 million a year. And so for me, if I'm Lamar Jackson, I know Atlanta doesn't have a defense, but you've got two young dudes in Pitts and Drake London. You build from there. You can outscore people. When you look at the NFC South, it's Carolina, it's Tampa, and of course it's New Orleans. I think they're all teams that at best are 9-8 types of teams. Lamar Jackson can make a difference. You're in a dome every week. You don't have to worry about any kind of weather situations in Pittsburgh, in Cincinnati, in Cleveland, or in Baltimore. He's playing in a controlled environment. Think about the NFC South. Probably next to the AFC South, as good of weather conditions to be able to compete in. Two teams are in domes. You've got Tampa and Charlotte as the other teams. I think it's a great fit for him in Atlanta.
He's a close to 64% completion guy in his career. I think he's fine throwing the ball. I understand he's not the most accurate passer. I'm sorry?
Captain checkdown. Give me the numbers on 10 yards or more or less than 10 yards on Lamar Jackson, and I promise you that number's not even close to 60% on throws over 10 yards.
Are you arguing the Ravens, as opposed to paying Lamar Jackson, should move on from Lamar Jackson?
I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is they should not guarantee $250 million. You want to guarantee 140, 150 the first 3 years of the deal, no problem. But where is he in 2 years from now? Because injuries are a legitimate concern with him.
I will agree with you on your Lamar Jackson take. To me is a little bit wild, but I will agree with you here. What the Haslams did to the quarterback market and the other 31 teams in the NFL was absolutely outrageous. Giving Deshaun Watson all of that guaranteed money has completely screwed the market.
But I don't understand why you pay a guy like Deshaun Watson with the situation coming out of Houston, the off-field trouble. How the hell do you guarantee that guy that money?
And a depreciating asset. He hadn't played in 2 years, and he was terrible when he played this past year.
I would make the argument, though, that sometimes long-term, this year he came in the middle of the season, but I would argue long-term that might be beneficial because you just don't have the physical wear and tear.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.